It's Monday, April the 24th, and this is what's happening in the condo market this week. Thanks for checking out this video once again. I'm back after a week off, and the big news, of course, this week is the Ontario's new fair housing plan. The Liberal government last week had a big announcement, and everybody's been talking about it ever since, talking about the big one being the foreign buyer tax, rent control, and a bunch of other little things that they've put out there, and they're calling it Ontario's new fair housing plan. I'm going to get more thoughts on this, and I'll be doing podcasts and interviews and things about it over the next few weeks, probably months ahead as well. It's going to take time for these new rules and things to settle in, for us to figure out exactly how they're going to affect the market, in what ways they're going to affect the market, short term, medium term, long term. There's going to be repercussions of these things. If I were to sum it up after having given it some thought over the past few days, again, I'm still researching this and looking into this, and I'm going to be talking to a lot more people about it. But so far, I don't see anything that's going to have any significant impact on the market at all. Let me make that very clear. I don't see any significant change coming to our market because of these new changes. But I think the biggest thing for me is that, it's basically another case of the rich will get richer. The rich are going to continue to get richer. I've been talking about this on the podcast all the time. It's one of the fundamental principles of investing in real estate and why we invest in real estate. If you own the asset, at the end of the day, you win. If you are the asset owner and you're holding the asset over the long period of time, you win. The asset we're talking about is real estate in the GTA. There's ups and downs in every market, but over the long term, the more real estate that you hold, the more real estate that you own, the wealthier that you're going to get. And that's just a proven fact over centuries. That is true. And we are so tempted and often tempted to take the short-term approach and just look at what's happening today, what's happening next week. Oh, prices went down, prices went up. Oh, this is hot, this is cold. The sky is falling because of this. The sky is, flying because of that. There's ups and downs in every market. If you take the long-term view and your goal is to buy cash flow producing real estate, and your goal is to repeat that process over and over again over a long period of time, you are going to get wealthy. You are going to win. Any rules and regulations that the government may bring into play are only going to ultimately result in your favor if you own the asset to begin with. And there's nothing to worry about. So there's no need to fret or cause for concern with any of these rule changes, if that is your understanding, if that is your goal. If you are a short-term thinker or short-term flipper looking to buy something today and flip it tomorrow and make a quick buck, and you're going to get rich in real estate like those guys you saw on TV, and your life is going to be amazing next week because of something you do today, then I would be a little bit afraid of these kind of rule changes. And anytime the government says they're going to be doing anything related to housing, it probably is going to affect people like you because you are a short-term thinker, and the government is going to make your life very difficult and very troublesome, and they're going to look for new ways to tax you and to extract wealth from you. But if you understand that real estate is a long-term investing game, if you understand that Toronto is a global city that is going to continue to increase in prominence on the global scale, that is going to continue to grow, that is going to continue to get wealthier and wealthier and wealthier over the decades to come, then if you're investing with that mindset, you're always going to do well. You're always going to outperform any other market, in my opinion, and you're going to be fine. So that's some of my early brief thoughts on this, but as time is ticking here on this week's video, let's jump into what some other people are saying in the news. We'll start with our friends at Realosophy, John Pasalis, and he wrote an article last week Ontario's new fair housing plan, the good and the bad. Let me just make another comment. The name, what is very interesting, what the government, they didn't say we're changing some rules on real estate. They package it as this thing, the Fair Housing Plan, Ontario Fair Housing Plan. Life is not fair. Housing is not fair. Toronto is not fair. We don't live in a fair world. This notion that housing needs to be fair and that everyone needs to be able to own their property, that everyone needs to be able to rent a property for a quote-unquote affordable price, whatever that means to you, to me is just bogus. We live in a free market economy, and unless you're going to change that, the rules of capitalism and the rules of supply and demand will always win out. So this notion of fairness to me rubs me a bit the wrong way, and it continues to deceive people into thinking that they deserve something that they don't, or that that a certain type of housing or a certain location of living is a requirement for everyone, or is a right for everyone, when it's simply not true. That is not how a free market economy works, and it's never how it has worked. So yeah, housing and economics of real estate are not fair, and they never have been. They always favor the wealthy. They always favor those who invested in the past. Those who are already in the market will continue to benefit disproportionately from those people who are yet to get into the market. So the sooner that you can get into the market, the better. And again, we're really going on a lot of tangents here. It's very tempting for me to just dive into this, but let's see how far we can get with the last couple minutes here. But yeah, check out John Pasalis' article. He's basically saying that he's looking at the winners and the losers. The losers, he says, are home buyers, people looking to get into the market because nothing's going to happen with house prices. The winners, he says, are people who are looking to sell, people who already own property. They're going to continue to benefit from future price increases. 100%, John. Let's jump to this article here from the Financial Post. Rent control would destroy apartment construction rebound in Ontario just when it's needed the most, CIBC economist warns. So again, Benjamin Tal has been a big vocal opponent of these new changes, especially rent control. He's saying that basically rent control will severely impact the future supply of new rental housing in Ontario, which will hurt tenants. The thing that they're bringing in is they're supposed to help tenants and make renting more affordable. It's going to do the exact opposite. And you can look at rent control and how it's played out in every city around the world that it's in. The same thing happens in the long term. Tenants are screwed. And the people who you think it's going to help, it doesn't help. Again, it's rubbed me the wrong way when the government gets involved in a free market. I understand the intention, I understand the goal, but it's just not going to happen. The next article, let's finish with this one here as we're running low on time. I just saw Don Campbell tweet this out, Vancouver Sun article. Let's look at Vancouver. Let's look at what's happening there, as we are wondering especially how this foreign buyer tax thing, which by the way, it's the foreign buyer tax thing in Ontario and Toronto, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but of course, because we don't have any actual statistics on this, which is scary, government making policy without any actual statistics, very scary. But I don't think this foreign buyer tax thing is going to do anything to the Toronto market at all. The impact of BC's foreign buyer tax wanes as March sales surge almost 50%. That's the headline there in the Vancouver Sun. Again, just an article from last week talking about the fact that, as we've mentioned in the podcast several times, I've interviewed some folks from Vancouver to see what's going on, because we want to learn from their experience here in Toronto as we're going down a similar but different path. And that is, the market just keeps on moving ahead, and just keeps on moving ahead in Vancouver. prices are continuing to rise. The number of sales now are jumping dramatically after a few months of reduced number of transactions. That number has jumped once again, and things are just back to where they were again. I mean, again, this foreign buyer tax, even in Vancouver, where most experts would agree there's a lot more foreign buyer activity in that market, certainly as a percentage of the market, than there is here. And Vancouver's market tends to be more up and down versus Toronto's tends to be more steady over the long term, which is very important as well. They're right back to where they were, and so again, they're not addressing the supply side of the equation. They're not bringing in any new supply. They're not raising interest rates. They're not changing the requirements to get a mortgage. And so demand is really not going to be affected. Supply is definitely not being affected. And so prices will continue to rise. And so there we are, back to where we began. Okay, there you have it. That's this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found something useful from today's episode. If you did, if you can go ahead and share this video with somebody that you know, that'd be great. And you can leave a comment below or send me an email, andrew@truecondos.com. Love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, have a great week.